Yo, what is good, people? Ben from Lover of Tech, and we are back with another video. This time, camera comparison. Pixel 8 Pro versus Pixel 8 versus Pixel 7a. This is the 2023 lineup of Pixel devices, and let's see what is the difference when it comes to the camera performance when you look at the price. So, we're going to test it in daylight, low light for the rear cameras, front-facing cameras, for pictures and videos, and see how they perform. Is it worth spending more from the Pixel 7a to the Pixel 8, even up to the Pixel 8 Pro when it comes to the camera performance? Well, let's find out in this definitive camera comparison between the Pixel 8 Pro, the Pixel 8, and the Pixel 7a. The best way to watch this video is at the highest resolution and frame rate at 4K 60 with headphones on for the audio and also on the largest display possible. There will be chapters linked in the description, but definitely sit back, relax, get your meal, get your popcorn, get your drink, because it will be a good one. We are now recording in the 4K UHD 60 frames per second video recorder mode on a front-facing camera on the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8. But the Pixel 7a is limited to just 4K 30. If you do want 60 frames per second, you do have to go down to 1080p 60, just like the previous Pixel 6 Pro. So again, we'll test that after. Let's just see the difference between the image quality, stabilization, sharpness, details, colors, and dynamic range. Quick run. We are still recording in the 4K UHD 60 frames per second video recorder mode on the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8. But with the Pixel 7a, we have dropped it down to 1080p to enable it to do 60 FPS. So you can get 60 FPS, but you do have to go down to 1080p on the Pixel 7a. Something to consider. Let's just see how the image quality difference is like. Dynamic range, colors, detail, sharpness, and of course, stabilization. Quick run. And we are now recording in the 4K UHD 30 frames per second video recorder mode on the Pixel 8 Pro, the Pixel 8, and the Pixel 7a. They're all matched in terms of resolution and frame rate. And again, just seeing how the image quality is like. Detail, colors, sharpness, dynamic range, and of course, video stabilization. Quick run. We are now recording in the 4K UHD 30 frames per second video recorder mode on the Google Pixel 8 Pro, the Pixel 8, and the Pixel 7a. Start with the main wide sensor at the back, just seeing how the image quality is like, colors, detail, sharpness, dynamic range, of course, and stabilization. Quick run. Now we can switch to the ultra-wide and all, as all do support 4K 30 on the ultra-wide, while continuously recording on the same clip. And of course, you can pause the recording on all the phones and continue recording on the same clip and take pictures. See how the image quality changes when they're not ultra-wide, and stabilization. 2x mode, 2x mode, 2x mode, which is doing a lossless crop on the main wide sensor. Let's now switch to the 5x dedicated zoom on the Pixel 8 Pro. Maximum 5x. And you've got 5x. You see the quality differences as we're panning along. Back to the main 1x. We've now switched over to the 4K UHD 60 frames per second video recorder mode on the Pixel 8 Pro, Pixel 8, and the Pixel 7a. And this is starting with the main wide sensor, seeing how the image quality is like, detail, colors, sharpness, dynamic range, and of course, video stabilization. Quick run. Here's a few things to consider when recording in the 4K UHD 60 frames per second video recorder mode on all three cameras. Pixel 8 Pro and Pixel 8 do allow you to switch to the ultra wide while you're recording on the same clip. 4K 60 is not supported on the ultra wide on the Pixel 7a. I repeat, 4K 60 is not supported on the ultra wide on the Pixel 7a. You can of course go into 2x mode, as you can see. And you do have the ability to go into the 5x zoom mode. And it's a 5x digital, maximum 5x digital. Back to the 1x, back to the 1x. And let's switch over to the 1080p 60 so we can have the ultra wide in 60 FPS on the Pixel 7a. We're still recording in the 4K UHD 60 frames a second on the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8 on the ultra wide. And we do have 60 FPS on the ultra wide on the Pixel 7a, but we've had to drop down to the 1080p resolution. Let's see how the image quality stabilization is like. Quick run. Again, obviously you've got the flexibility to go between the lenses, which is no different here. We are in the active video stabilization mode in the Pixel 8 Pro, Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a, which is limited to 1080p 30 frames a second. This is on a 1x mode, then we'll switch to the 2x. Fast run. So now move to the 2x mode. Fast run. We are now recording in a 4K UHD 30 frames a second video recording mode on the Pixel 8 Pro, Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a. With the rear cameras with me in the frame as the subject, starting with the main wide, we're just seeing how the image quality is like and how it handles the scene with me in the frame. Slow walk back. And again, in 4K 30 you get maximum flexibility. We're going to switch to the ultra wide on all three. You just see how the image quality has changed with me in the frame as the subject. With now a slow walk back. Okay, let's go into the 2x mode. If I need to move back, I'll be told. We're still in a 4K UHD 30 frames a second video recorder mode. We're now using a 5x optical zoom on a Pixel 8 Pro, matching it with the 5x digital zoom on the main sensor on the Pixel 7a and Pixel 8. We've now switched over to the 4K UHD 60 frames a second video recorder mode on a Pixel 8 Pro, the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a. This is on the main wide sensor. Again, you don't have 4K 60 support on the ultra wide on the Pixel 7a, but we will switch over to 1080p 60 after, just seeing the difference with the main wide sensors. Let's do a slow walk back. Again, you can switch to the ultra wide on the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8. We're still recording the 4K UHD 60 frames a second on the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8 on the ultra wide sensor. We are in 60 frames a second on the ultra wide on the Pixel 7a, but again, we've dropped the resolution down to 1080p. This is how you get the 60 FPS on the Pixel 7a. Slow walk back. Still in the 4K UHD 60 frames a second video recorder mode on the Pixel 8 Pro, Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a. We're now in the 2x mode, which is doing a 2x lossless crop on the main wide sensor, and just seeing how the image quality difference is like when we're comparing it to the other three. Still recording in 4K UHD 60 frames a second on the Pixel 8 Pro, the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a. We're using it in the 5x mode, which with the Pixel 8 Pro it is using this dedicated 5x optical telephoto sensor. most of us are doing a 5x digital crop on a wide sensor. We're now recording in the cinematic background blur for video on a Pixel 8 Pro and a Pixel 8 in 1080p 24 FPS with the background blur. Now, the Pixel 7a does not have the cinematic blur feature at all, so we are recording in the 1080p 30 FPS normal recorder mode. Again, there's not much flexibility that you get in this recorder mode on the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8. There's no 4K option, no 30 FPS option. You can't change the blur factor before, during, and even after editing. So just something to consider, but this feature is there compared to the Pixel 7a. We are now in the 4K UHD 30 frames per second video recorder mode on the Pixel 8 Pro, the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a. Just seeing how the overall low light performance is like on all three Pixel 2023 devices. Just checking the lens flaring. Switch to the ultra wide. Onto the 2x. Five X. Five X is the maximum on the 7a. And back to main camera. We are now in the Selfie 4K UHD 30 frames per second video recorder mode on the Pixel 8 Pro, the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a. And just seeing how the low light performance is like on the front facing cameras. Let's now analyze the photos between the Pixel 8 Pro, the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a, starting with the daytime images and looking at the landscape shots. And from the ultra wide, the biggest difference I can tell between the three is the image processing when it comes to colors. The Pixel 7a is definitely a bit more saturated, slightly more contrasty, and you can tell by the blues in the sky. Then followed by the Pixel 8, things are a lot more tuned and toned down on the Pixel 8 Pro. But detail is really good on the Pixel 8 Pro, then the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a. They're all doing really good with a nice ultra wide field of view. When we move over to the main wide sensor, things stay a lot more consistent with the Pixel 7a, where it is still slightly more saturated on the main wide sensor, whereas the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8 pretty much look the same, which is no surprise. They are using the same 50 megapixel updated main wide sensor. Detail is great on all, but I would say the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8 really are on par when it comes to good detail and sharpness compared to what we have on the Pixel 7a, but the Pixel 7a is still very good. Now in the 2x mode, this is doing a lossless crop on the main wide sensor, and you can see the color banding on the fence is a lot more pronounced on the Pixel 7a than the Pixel 8. The Pixel 8 Pro pretty much handles it a lot better, and the detail on there is more favored on the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8, but the Pixel 7a is doing a decent job overall, but I would say much better detail that you get on the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8. Beyond here, when we're looking at the extended zoom at 5x, it's the Pixel 8 Pro all the way. This is the benefit you get from going with the Pro model, because you do have a dedicated tele-zoom lens at 5x, and it's no competition when you're comparing it to what you're getting in results on the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a. Definitely the Pixel 8 holds up a little bit better compared to the Pixel 7a, but it's the Pixel 8 Pro all the way. And even when you go to the maximum times 8x on the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a, comparing it to the Pixel 8 Pro, you can definitely see the text on the banner on the fence. And at 10x and all the way up to 30x, the Pixel 8 Pro is definitely kin when it comes to the extended zoom. Maybe in the future, Google will add maybe a dedicated 3x zoom on the normal non-pro devices, but for now, you want a dedicated zoom, you have to go pro. Taking a look at the high resolution mode, which is actually only available on the Pixel 8 Pro. Yes, the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8 have the updated 50 megapixel sensor. The Pixel 7a does have a 64 megapixel sensor, which means it's technically the highest resolution. But again, you have to consider things like quality of the sensor size, pixel size is still favored on the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8. But to get the high resolution mode, this is classed as a pro feature, whether in JPEG or RAW. Again, we're just showcasing this in JPEG, and the only thing you take a hit to in this situation is capture speed and processing time, which is a lot longer. But again, in the right lighting condition, you get much more detail on the Pixel 8 Pro compared to what you have here on the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a. Again, you can also do this in the ultra wide mode as well as the 5x. In this particular situation, we're showcasing the wide and the ultra wide. And here is where things are a little bit confusing, in my opinion, because the ultra wide is a 48 megapixel sensor. So I don't know whether Google is taking a 12 megapixel image and blowing it up, or they are just rounding it up to 50 megapixels just to make it easier to communicate between all the three high resolution sensors that you have now, which is of course 50 megapixel wide, 48 megapixel on the ultra wide, which is upgraded, and a 48 megapixel updated 5x telezoom lens. But again, this is a pro feature and another reason to consider the Pixel 8 Pro if that's what you want. Testing this high contrast situation with a direct shot against the sun. Luckily, we're still getting a bit of sun in the UK in this particular time. So I really wanted to test how the lens flaring would actually be managed on all three phones, as well as this high contrast, high shadow dynamic range situation. And all three do a very good job. I would say the lens flaring is managed so well on the Pixel 8 series with the 8 Pro and the 8. And the Pixel 7a does a good job overall. Slight lens flaring in the middle that you can see, but overall, it's doing a very good job. And switching to the ultra wide, yeah, still the same. I'd say in this particular situation, the Pixel 8 handled it best, then followed by the Pixel 8 Pro, and then the Pixel 7a. But overall, this is the look that we're getting with the ultra wide. And again, switching to the high resolution mode on the Pixel 8 Pro in JPEG, you can see that it's pretty much consistent in HDR performance and shadow detail being really good. But you do get the resolution boost, and also in the ultra wide as well. This is great to see, and I like the consistency. The only hit you're really taking here is processing time, but nothing when it comes to image processing and dynamic range, which is great to see. Let's take a look at some close-up shots of this flower and looking at the minimum focusing distance on the Pixel 8 Pro, the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a. They're very good, and you can get decently close and create that natural background blur effect. Again, because of the bigger sensor size on the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8, you do get a much more natural looking background blur compared to the Pixel 7a, which is a little bit more subtle. But in terms of the colors, I actually prefer how the Pixel 8 has produced its colors, then followed by the 7a, and then the Pixel 8 Pro. The Pixel 8 Pro is a little bit cooler and more toned down than I prefer. But again, this is really just down to personal taste and how it looks, but I do prefer the look of the Pixel 8. Now, when we move closer with the main wide sensor, you can see that once you go past that minimum focusing on the main wide sensor, it blurs out. But this is the advantage you get with the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8, is because you do have macro mode, meaning you can get much closer and get the detail. Again, the colors being produced in the Pixel 8 is the one I prefer, but the detail that you're getting from the Pixel 8 Pro is really good. This is something that you don't get on the Pixel 7a, so consider that if you want to do really close-up shots. Time for some front-facing camera shots with the selfie, and when I look at this, instantly I'm gravitated more to the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 7a. In fact, I would say the Pixel 7a, just because it doesn't oversaturate my jacket that much more compared to what we're seeing on a Pixel 8 Pro, which most could prefer because of the stylistic look, whereas the Pixel 8 looks a little bit washed out, but not too much. In fact, I'll be honest, all three are doing good, but I actually prefer the Pixel 7a than the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8. Would you believe that? And again, when we go to portrait mode with the background blur, all three are doing decently okay with obviously the shape of my head and everything and the lack of hair. So I'd say the edge detection is reasonable. The look of the blur is actually not bad at all. In terms of the look of the colors and the detail, the same as if you're not taking portrait mode, so very consistent when it comes to the look of the front-facing camera. Last set of the daylight shots with me in the frame as a subject with the rear cameras. Let's start with the main wide sensor. And we can see that the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8 pretty much look the same. Maybe slight difference in saturation in the color of my jacket. for the Pixel 8 Pro. But I'll be honest with you, the Pixel 7a, although it looks a little bit softer, not by much, the detail is still there. I like the more contrasty look and also the slight more saturation to the image, especially if you're looking at the blues in the sky and the jacket. This is a style and a look that most people might actually prefer. Yes, I preference more the balanced nature of the Pixel 8 Pro, but actually, you know what? The Pixel 7a is looking really good. Now moving to the ultra wide, mind the funny poses, especially the ones that you've seen in the Pixel 8. But in terms of the color performance, again, more consistent on the Pixel 7a, where it's leaning more to a more contrasty, saturated look, especially with the blues in the sky and the saturation of the jacket and just that more contrasty based look. You're seeing more of that on the Pixel 8 Pro and the ultra wide in this particular situation. Definitely not as much as the Pixel 7a, but you're getting more detail in that sense. And the Pixel 8 really tones things down and balances things, but I would say all three of them are really good. Not much in between them apart from the colors and the saturation and the contrast. Now in the 2x mode, we can see that all three actually hold down great when it comes to performance. Which one do I prefer? Actually, I would say in the order as expected, with the Pixel 8 Pro, the Pixel 8, and then the Pixel 7a. Again, it's more just down to the fact that on the Pixel 8, it's not as saturated, it's more toned down. So I prefer that balance that we're getting with the Pixel 8 Pro, which sits somewhere in between how the 8 and the 7a are looking. But I know a lot of people would like the look of the Pixel 7a. Here, honestly, you cannot go wrong. Where you're really going to see differences is in the 5x mode. And I'll be honest with you, with a human subject in the frame, the Pixel 8 actually does a very good job at resolving good natural detail compared to the Pixel 7a. The Pixel 7a does fall apart a lot more. It's a softer image. And one thing I like is because you're now using a dedicated 5x zoom lens on the Pixel 8 Pro, there is a slight subtle blur in the background that you get with it. So again, can't go wrong with a dedicated 5x zoom on the Pixel 8 Pro. That's definitely the winner, then followed by the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a. Portrait mode between the Pixel 8 Pro, Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a. And I would say the portrait edge detection is doing okay on all three. Now, it's a lot harder in this particular situation because Google doesn't really communicate with you. Around the left side of my ear, the Pixel 8 does struggle a little bit when it comes to edge detection. I would say that in terms of the subtleness of the blur, the Pixel 7a tries to go through it, but there is some patchy areas where there is no blur. The blur is a lot more intensified on the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8. This is something that you can possibly tone down in post and edit. This is something that Pixels are good at. But in terms of the colors and the look of the image, I would say that all three are doing a great job. In terms of stylistic look, I would say the Pixel 7a is something that might be preferred by a lot of people. But again, which one you go for, you can't go wrong. They're very on par when it comes to pixel portrait mode. And in the 2x mode, the Pixel 7a just did not want to play ball. And we tried it over and over again. For some reason, in the 2x mode, at that same focal length distance simulation with the central crop, it just wasn't playing ball. Whereas the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8, they were still able to lock on, produce portrait. Now, again, in this particular situation, in the edit, you can add the background blur. Pixel devices are a lot more consistent in being accurate with that, so something to consider to recover it. But within communication of using it in a camera UI, this is what I hope in the future Google can just implement a way where we can just see how the portrait is looking before and make adjustments after it's actually processed the image. Let's turn down the lights and look at some low light images on the Pixel 8 Pro, the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a, starting with the landscape images and with the ultra wide. Now, just for reference, these first set of shots that we're seeing are going to be without night mode active. Why? You get a faster capture time without night mode compared to night mode. So seeing how the performance is without night mode and the best performance you can have on which focal length will give you an indication of getting the best image as quickly as possible in the best detail. And already we can see that the low light performance on the ultra wide and the Pixel 8 Pro is definitely the one that wins it out of the three, followed by the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a. Now, the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a definitely have a much more noisy image, but it's more pronounced on the Pixel 7a. So definitely 8 is more superior. And then at the top is the Pixel 8 Pro. We're moving to the main wide sensor without night mode active. Definitely all three do a decent job, but I'll definitely say the Pixel 8 Pro performs the best. How it manages and maintains colors is a lot more consistent compared to what we're seeing on the Pixel 8, which does do a very good job overall, especially when it comes to the color shifting around the lights. It's more pronounced on the Pixel 7a with the color color shifting around the light. So definitely more consistent on the Pixel 8 Pro than the Pixel 8, and then the Pixel 7a with more detail on the Pixel 8 Pro out of the three. We're moving to the 2x mode, which again is doing a central lossless crop on the main wide sensor. Definitely the Pixel 8 Pro looks to be managing it the best, then followed by the Pixel 8 and then the Pixel 7a. So definitely in this situation, better processing and image output on the Pixel 8 Pro. Once we move over to the 5x mode, again, the Pixel 7a absolutely falls apart. Things are held much better on the Pixel 8 Pro, then followed by the Pixel 8. In this particular situation, there's no way with Pixel devices to tell it whether to use the dedicated 5x lens on the Pixel 8 Pro or use the 5x crop on the main wide sensor. This is just something that it just auto manages, so it can be consistent or inconsistent based on how much light is getting in. But overall, the Pixel 8 Pro, then the Pixel 8, then the Pixel 7a last. Let's run the sequence back now with night mode active, and you can see how much this benefits and improves on the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a, especially with the Pixel 8 Pro starting from a good place already. I would say that all three really benefit from night mode well. The color tones are a lot warmer on the Pixel 8 Pro. That's the biggest difference I can see. So actually in terms of the balance, I like how the balance of the colors look on a Pixel 8, but in terms of the detail that you're getting, less noise and much better processing on the Pixel 8 Pro. And moving to the main wide sensor, you can see that how night mode works overpowers and really amplifies the lens flaring on the Pixel 7a especially. Things just look a lot more balanced on the Pixel 8 Pro, where it kind of preserves the more nighttime look and manages the lamps a lot better, then followed by the Pixel 8. So this is where you're seeing the difference with and without night mode. Now in the 2x mode, again, still very consistent. Not much changes when it comes to the detail and the colors being produced with the Pixel 8 Pro, then followed by the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a, which does improve well, but the image is slightly softer compared to what you're getting on the Pixel 8 Pro, and the colors are a lot nicer overall on the Pixel 8 Pro. And again, in the 5x mode, you're seeing that the image still falls apart, even though the exposure improves a lot better on the Pixel 7a, whereas on the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8, they really hold well. And I would say in this particular situation, the Pixel 8's colors are a lot more preferred. Time for some front-facing low-light selfie camera shots with the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a. And I would say that in terms of the actual colors being more consistent, it's the Pixel 7a. Now, of course, because of the autofocus that you're getting in the Pixel 8 Pro, you latch on to having more consistent in focus, sharper detail images on a selfie, which you can tell, and it follows by the Pixel 8 Pro, Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a. But in terms of the accuracy of the colors, the Pixel 7a is the one that's doing a good job here, which is really a pleasant surprise. And again, with night mode active, this stays consistent. Now the colors again shift completely off on the Pixel 8 Pro, but what's more in focus is me as the subject. Definitely something that is favored, but the look of the Pixel 7a, I'll be honest with you, it's the one that is more accurate in this situation. And then with the front screen flash, again, the Pixel 7a stays more consistent, but the image is just not as sharp and in detail. You're getting a much more overpowered front screen flash on the Pixel 8 Pro, but again, more detail, and then followed by the Pixel 8. So something to consider in this particular situation. And when we run it in portrait mode without night mode active, again, when it comes to colors and consistency and detail, it's the same as before. We're looking more at the edge detection and blur performance, which all of them nail, so no issues. And again, night mode active, things struggle a little bit on the Pixel 7a, but it's not really by much. Again, this is something that is consistent when we're looking at edge detection, which is more on the Pixel 8 Pro, and then followed by the Pixel 8, which struggles a little bit, but again, this is just something to consider when it comes to night mode active. And with the front screen flash, all of them nail it. And I like the more subtle look of the Pixel 7a. It's more down to the fact that the front screen flash is not as powerful compared to the other two. But again, this is something to consider when it comes to low light portrait performance with the front screen flash. Last set of low light shots with the rear camera with me in the frame as the subject. Starting with the main wide sensor. Again, Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8, very much on par. I do slightly like the colors a little bit more on the Pixel 8 Pro, but again, nothing in between them by that much when it comes to the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8. Whereas the Pixel 7a, again, great colors, just a slightly softer image as expected. Now the ultra wide, again, it's all the Pixel 8 Pro. That new 48 megapixel ultra wide is such a great improvement for low light performance without using night mode. Things fall apart very quickly on the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a. So without night mode, ultra wide on the Pixel 8 Pro is definitely the way to go. Now looking at the 2x zoom mode, where it's doing a lossless crop of the main wide sensor, all of them really fall apart in this particular situation. It's just one of those ones where looking at the colors, they're very much on par, maybe slight saturation on the Pixel 8 Pro on a jacket that makes it a little bit more accurate, that I would prefer. So this one, I think night mode would benefit. Let's now go into the 5x zoom mode, and I'll definitely say that although the exposure is better on the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a, they are a lot more muddy and softer as an image, whereas you're actually keeping more detail and less noise in the Pixel 8 Pro, but it is a darker image overall. And I believe in this particular situation, it probably was using a 5x dedicated telezoom lens. Let's now run the same sequence back now with night mode active, and the biggest benefit you're seeing here is to the Pixel 7a and the Pixel 8. Now detail is still not improved. It is still a slightly softer image on the Pixel 7a. Overall, I like the look of the Pixel 8 Pro, then followed by the Pixel 8, then the Pixel 7a. Now with the ultra wide, again, a great improvement, especially on the Pixel 7a and the Pixel 8. But again, it benefits the most on the Pixel 8 Pro because it just started from a good place already compared to the other two, and you're getting much sharper detail on the Pixel 8 Pro, which is great to see. In the 2x mode, great improvement on all three of them nail it. Where the Pixel 8 Pro wins is just the accuracy and the more consistent colors to the scene for myself as well as my jacket, which is great to see. So definitely the Pixel 8 Pro, then followed by the Pixel 8, then the Pixel 7a. And then in the 5x mode, yes, the image is still soft and muddy on the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a. Nothing you can do to really fix that because it's not working with a dedicated zoom lens, which the Pixel 8 Pro is working with it here. So it helps it overall, and the colors are a lot more consistent. Portrait mode first without night mode active, and the consistency of the blur is a lot better on the Pixel 8 Pro, then followed by the Pixel 8, whereas you can see on the Pixel 7a, it's just patchy. It doesn't completely nail it. It does need more light to help it in this particular situation. And that is pretty much the same when it comes to the 2x mode. The image on the Pixel 7a really falls apart. It hasn't really done portrait mode. Again, it just struggles to do portrait mode in this 2x mode for some reason. That's something that probably needs to be considered and worked on. It's something that you have to probably add in post in the edit after, whereas it's a lot better on the Pixel 8 Pro, then followed by the Pixel 8. Let's now activate night mode, and the biggest improvement you're seeing is definitely to the Pixel 7a and the Pixel 8, but overall the image that you're getting on the Pixel 8 Pro with night mode portrait mode is better, and then followed by the Pixel 8 and then the Pixel 7a. In fact, I would say that the Pixel 7a just has a better time with the edge detection around my head compared to the Pixel 8, but overall in terms of the look, is in the order of the Pixel 8 Pro, the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a for me. In the 2x mode, the Pixel 7a falls apart quickest as expected. You're getting much more consistent performance with the Pixel 8 Pro, then the Pixel 8 and then the Pixel 7a. Now using the flash for portrait mode, you can see that the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8 pretty much perform the same, look very similar, maybe slight saturation on the Pixel 8 Pro when it comes to the jacket, but again, not much in it, but I would say that's the one I lean more towards. And then the Pixel 7a actually does a good job. I think with the flash is where you get the best performance for low light portrait on the Pixel 7a. But again, portrait mode is very challenging. You can see the edge detection around the ears is blurred a lot more on all three, especially on the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 8 Pro. This is something that hopefully they can tune better, or you can dial it down and post yourself. And in the 2x mode, again, the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8 hold a much more consistent image, whereas the flash isn't as powerful on the Pixel 7a to perform. So definitely you want to stick to the 1x mode with the flash for portrait on the Pixel 7a. Let's now do a quick summary of the video performance between the Pixel 8 Pro, the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a. Let's start with the front facing camera with the selfie. And definitely when it comes to video performance, the biggest advantage you're going to get with the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8 is the ability to record up to 4K 60. The Pixel 7a is limited to 4K 30, which is still great, but to get 60 FPS you do have to go down to 1080p. And of course the Pixel 8 Pro having autofocus on the front facing camera now compared to the other two really just allows that consistency to stay in focus, look sharper and more detailed, which is a nice addition. I hope this is something they just add on all future Pixel devices, but it is on the Pixel 8 Pro finally, so that's the advantage that you get. One thing that is missing is the front facing camera blur effect for cinematic. I really wish Google did this for the selfie camera on all the new devices, but again, let's hope that they improve on it add things like having 4K and the option of 30 FPS, but again, it's limited to the main rear camera, not on the selfie on any of the new 2023 Pixel devices and beyond. Now for the rear cameras, when it comes to video performance, very similar limitations apply, where you do get 4K 60 now on the Pixel 7a, which is great to see, especially at this price point. Google's pretty much one of the only manufacturers at this price point where they're offering 4K 60 at all. So it's great to see. But again, this is just limited to the main wide sensor, meaning you've got the 1x mode and the 2x mode that you can do on 4K 60, but 4K 60 is not available on the ultra wide. You want 60 FPS, you have to go down to 1080p for the Pixel 7a. This is not an issue for the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8, where they can do 4K 60 on the rear lenses that they've got, and they allow you to keep recording on the same clip and switch in 4K 60 without stopping recording. Again, something that they started doing on the Pixel 7 and the Pixel 7 Pro, carried it on here, great, and other people are following, so they pioneered it, which is great to see. The advantage you get with the Pixel 8 Pro is the fact that, of course, you've got the 5x dedicated zoom lens, which can record in 4K 60 as well. And with the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 8 Pro, you do get the cinematic blur effect, which is just on the main wide sensor. It's in 1080p at 24. You cannot do it at all on the Pixel 7a. Again, there's not much flexibility of what you can do in changing the blur while you're recording, before you're recording, or after you finish recording. So again, hopefully Google improves this, gives a 4K option and also the option of 30 FPS and more control over the blur, but that feature is available on the Pixel 8 Pro and the Pixel 8 and not on the Pixel 7a. Amongst the other things that you've seen on there from what you were analyzing with the video before, this is the video performance when it comes to the Pixel 8 Pro, the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a. That is it with my definitive camera comparison between the Pixel 8 Pro, the Pixel 8 and the Pixel 7a. If you made it to the end of the video, then put a fist bump emoji in the comments so I know you're a real one for watching it all the way through to the end. Really appreciate your support on these videos and let me know your thoughts on it. That's it for me, Ben from Lover of Tech. If you enjoy videos like this, you know exactly what to do. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're part of Team TLS, the Tech Lover Squad, so you don't miss any future videos on the channel. I hope you're all safe during this time. I will catch you in the next one. Peace.